Hey everyone, and welcome to my first summer garden tour of 2024. Yesterday, on this gorgeous summer day, can you actually see that? That's sunlight on my face. The sun is actually shining. What a privilege. Today, I'm a few miles north of Walsall, near Birmingham, and I'm visiting Andrew and Annmarie Swift's incredible garden. This garden doesn't really fit one particular theme. It's a forest garden. It's a water garden with loads of beautiful water features. It's got an exotic twist. There's over 70 trees here, over 200 ferns, and it's also only 15 metres by about 10 metres. So this is an urban garden, a north-facing garden, a garden with very boggy clay soil, but they've overcome all those challenges and really created something amazing. A garden, like I said, with a slight tropical exotic twist, but to me, some really unique touches and a real personality that runs through it. So I hope you enjoy watching this video, and if you want to visit this garden yourself, they open through the NGS, and I'll put details of the 50 Shades of Green Facebook page in the description below. So hope you enjoy it. Let's get on with it. Imagine walking out your kitchen into this. What a beautiful view.
Because we're north facing, this gets a little bit of sun early in the morning, but as the day goes on, it goes into shade, and on a nice hot day, it's probably the best place to sit.
Like today.
Yeah, like today.
Yeah, like
Midsummer,
today.
beautiful sun up there.
Yeah,
and we've come to a north facing garden.
Yeah, you could have picked a better day to do a north facing garden, couldn't it?
There we go. So as we sort of follow around the garden, I think we want to explore some of the challenges that you've overcome in your journey, and really the opportunities. Oh yes, definitely a few of those. So,
definitely, yeah.
So just passing through, I mean, I can't obviously not comment on these beautiful plants here. So what's the general theme of your pot collection here?
We try and keep stuff that doesn't need too much watering, so we keep ivies here and a few hostas. But this just needs a little sprinkling, doesn't it? The rest of the garden needs more watering, really, but this takes care of itself, really. And it's a little bit quirky, things that we've collected as well, we like to keep on here.
I like that, and like you said to me when we just had a walk around, it covers up the wall, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yes,
and there's a big pipe behind that as
well.
yeah,
so that was
you can see it now.
Yeah.
Look at all the secrets there behind the scenes.
Yeah, don't show the secrets.
You've got to. But no, I like it. So you obviously open for NGS, and that's something we'll talk about later.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you come in the garden through this beautiful gate here, it's just being greeted by such an array of different foliage. It's definitely unlike most gardens are going to see, isn't it, on their NGS rounds. People
come through the gate and they just sort of stand still, don't they, in the garden?
And take
it
in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which it is nice, it's a nice reaction.
Yeah.
We do like that.
And I mean, as you can see now, the sun was that nice sunny day, but this is in shade, so it's a perfect area for some nice ferns. We've got a really good collection of ferns. We've got over 200.
Yes.
Most of them are different. We have got repeated ones.
Around the garden, we've probably got about 10 or 11 cyatheas, haven't we? We've got.
Yeah. They're not that big. I mean, considering how big they do grow.
Yeah. They grow fast though.
But they do grow fast, and obviously they're tender, so they have to go in the greenhouse in the winter.
As we head around your garden, I think if I had to summarise some of the amazing things that we'll see, I'll put some clips over the top of it so people get an idea of what they're going to see. It's essentially a forest garden with a lot of water, with a slight tropical edge and exotic feel, and then there's some oriental elements, isn't there?
Yes, yeah.
Well, originally, as we said, it started off in 2008 as a big lawn, and we just got together, haven't we? And we love Japanese gardens. Yeah. Just love Japanese gardens. So that was our intention, was to build a Japanese garden. And it started off well. Yeah. Started off quite Japanesey, and the problem was
we'll see how it's evolved.
We just like too many different plants.
We did, and also we got the problem of being overlooked as well. And
we wanted to overcome that. Yeah,
and with Japanese style, it needs to be more open. And we wanted it to be more enclosed, so
which meant trees.
Which meant trees.
So this is something as we push through. Your garden is about 11 by 15 metres, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
But the diversity of planting and I guess how the space feels really is special. To me, it's how many tall plants you've used, and in fact, when it comes to tall plants, trees in particular, How many trees have you got in your garden?
I've got, including the front garden,
Yes.
we've got about 75 plus
75 plus
at
trees.
the last count.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. Yeah.
To me, it's the trees that really give it that
Yeah. They're not
special
all
feel.
planted in the ground, some are in pots as well, and disguised to look like they're in the ground.
All these trees in the garden now, the biggest one when they went in was no bigger than 5 or 6 foot.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were all below the fence line.
Yeah.
So looking now, we've got some sort of towering cedars, haven't we? They're getting to
Yeah.
quite a size now. Other pines, conifers.
Yeah.
There's a eucalyptus at the back. You've really used that height, haven't you? So although your garden is only around 10 metres wide,
Yeah.
you've maximised the vertical space, and it really creates that sense of seclusion, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we've also got the big trees in the middle of the garden rather than just all around the edge.
Do you know what? That's clever. Yeah, I hadn't really noticed that, but it instantly makes you feel like you're actually walking through something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got that sense of mystery. And I know we were speaking before we started filming that neither of us like the term garden rooms as such.
Yeah.
But the way you've sort of separated your garden, created special little areas, seating places, I think the big plants and trees really play a key role in that. And I mean, some of the conifers here, what's that beautiful one behind you there, Andrew?
This one is
Setsugeka, this
yeah,
one.
it's a parviflora,
Yeah.
Setsugeka.
I like that sort of bluish
It's
tinge to
beautiful,
it.
Yeah.
isn't it? It's really
Yeah.
stunning.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
looking through this window here, that acer there, which one's that?
That's a cardinal, silver cardinal. It's a snake bark acer. Yeah.
You can see the
Let's pop back.
you see the seeds on it here.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at those.
So beautiful, aren't they?
Oh yeah, love little helicopters, but they're definitely dainty, aren't they?
Yeah, it's got like a variegation on the leaf as well.
When it first comes out in the
It's really
spring, it
stunning.
has lots of
Yeah, these will
pink
be-
growth on the end of it as well.
Yeah, and it has tassel flowers on it about that long.
Oh wow.
It's stunning.
Just like
Really
a sycamore
beautiful.
tree.
Like a sycamore
Yeah.
tree, but
Yeah.
with extra sort of
Well,
seasonal
that's what
interest,
they
isn't
are.
it?
It's a sycamore is an acer. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, definitely.
yeah.
Such a beautiful mixture of foliage. And as we head round, there is something that people will want to hear about, which is all the water features here. I guess that's a passion of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I just love water. I mean, we started off with one pond down the bottom, and then as the gardens progressed over the years, we've probably been doing it all together now, probably 14 years-ish.
Yeah.
And over that period, we've gone from one pond for koi at the bottom to a wildlife pond with a waterfall at the top. And they're both joined with a stream down the centre over a little bridge.
Which we'll see.
And then we have little standalone features around the garden just to keep that theme going.
Yes.
And so no matter where you sit in the garden, you can always hear that faint
Yeah.
Oh,
trickle
you
of
say
water in the
faint.
back.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
when
it's
it's
a
quiet,
beautiful
it's quite
thought.
loud, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No,
And then we've
it
got
really
a
is lovely.
pondless waterfall at the top that we've had for a year.
We'll head up
So,
to that.
Yeah.
So, did you have an overall plan as you were building the garden, or is it very
we,
much
we knew what
one area at a
structure we
time?
wanted, but we've had to do everything little bit by little bit through because of our budget. Because each thing that you do is going to cost at least a couple of grand to do,
Yeah.
including planting, sometimes more. So
Yeah.
we've,
I mean,
we've
things are expensive
Yeah,
for gardening.
they are.
You know, there's no getting
Yeah.
by that, is there?
Yeah.
Definitely. And this is something
Yeah.
we're speaking about, isn't it? We're all real people,
Yeah.
with budgets, and
Of course.
Yeah, you
Um,
just can't afford to go out
no.
and kit a whole garden
No.
out in one, can you?
And
No.
I think as well, it's you get the satisfaction of doing something yourself,
Yeah,
don't
exactly,
you?
yeah.
Use whatever skills you've already got, and
Yeah.
then you learn new ones, like you said, with YouTube
Exactly.
or anything.
exactly.
And
Exactly, yeah.
just look what you've created. Really, it really is special. And to me, it's not just the fact that you've done everything yourself, but it's how the whole thing is. It feels like a whole, doesn't it? Everything's tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where your sort of planting comes in, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and creativity as well. I'm quite a creative person. You're a hands-on person, and
Yeah.
together it marries really well.
Oh, certainly,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Spanish moss there.
Yes, well, we talked about this earlier. We're a big believer in trying to get things to look as natural as possible where it comes from. And lots of people hang it in different places. We know that, and we're well aware of that. But we just didn't want to hang ours in our tropical area because it doesn't naturally grow
No.
in the tropics. So we thought we'd try it hanging from the trees, and it seems to work really well. And
Gives
it
that
needs
sort of otherworldly
humidity
feel.
above the pond. It works really well for us there. And it's our
Definitely.
first year doing it, and it's already increased in size. These were big bunches, and we've divided them up into 3, and they've done really
I guess
well.
helped by the humidity this
Yeah.
year so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've just
but
been
the
looking at that,
blackbirds
haven't
have been taking bits for nests.
we? Oh dear.
So yeah.
That's some very exotic
It's
looking
some
nests
very
around.
exotic nests. Yeah,
in here we've got a staghorn fern, haven't we, nestled in that tree
We
there?
have, yeah.
And I guess really it's just having a few of these little accessory plants that just sets the whole place off as being a magical environment, doesn't it?
Exactly.
This amazing structure, you've built it from scratch, haven't you?
Yeah, it's the framework is made out of 10 by 10 fence posts.
So that's easier, 10 centimetres, 10 centimetre.
Yeah, just normal fence
posts.
So they're treated, so they should hold up and not go rotten, and they're painted as well, so we get a few years life out of it.
Definitely.
So it was reasonably cheap to build. The glass panels in the side are upcycled from the shower.
Wow.
We had a new shower.
Shower? Yeah, just as you do, yeah.
And the artwork on them, Annmarie's done that.
That
bit
really
of
is
lead work.
lovely.
Yeah.
You were actually telling me further around the corner you got some more of this lead work. How do you actually do it?
It's self-adhesive leaded lights that you use on double glazing windows. It's really easy to use.
So presumably you can get that off eBay or somewhere.
Yeah,
and
you just buy it on a
experiment away.
reel.
You just pull the sticky back off it and mould it to the shape you want.
and it moulds really easily. Yeah.
No,
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, something we'll speak about while we're having lunch is that a lot of these kind of projects, you can have a go at them. You know, the skills that are involved, it's something that a normal person can learn to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I walk past your structure just assuming this is an amazing gazebo. You've got it off the shelf and paid handsomely for the privilege. But
Yeah.
I mean, you've even made this panel here, haven't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's basically a light box. It's just a basic box made out of 3x2 timbers, a sheet of hardboard on the back to keep the water out, and the front sheet. With Annmarie got some stencils that she made from the internet, drew around them with a pencil, and then I cut them out with a jigsaw, glued some translucent perspex on the back of them to keep them waterproof, and then inside the box at the back fitted some LED lights. And they actually
really
colour
impressive.
change if you want them to, but we
Yeah.
just like
We like green.
Like light green. There we go. We're like green, 50 shades of green here. I think that's really fantastic. I imagine as the light goes down, that just stands out.
It stands out a
Doesn't
lot.
it?
Yeah, I mean,
That
But
really
this
is amazing.
is a place that we use constantly. We originally we had a swing hammock with a canopy on, which we used to use all the time. But of course, if it rains, you do get wet.
yeah.
Yes,
You have to run in.
isn't it?
But
Yeah.
so we wanted to replace it with something we can use all the time.
I mean,
And
we can stop out here when it's raining down.
Yeah, and we've got a heater now.
Yeah,
So
and when it's hammering it down, it's
nice.
We
Yeah.
were actually speaking about that a few weeks back,
Yeah.
weren't we, with a
Yeah.
big thunderstorm and
Yeah.
under here,
Yeah.
as you can hear, all the
But we come out
rain
if there's a
pattering
thunderstorm. We actually run out to come and
Yeah.
sit out in it because
you can hear it in the Gunnera leaves and the palm leaves.
Brilliant.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just think it's incredible. It's so in fitting with the rest of your garden. But something like this, for a lot of people watching it, this is approachable, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's really easy to do.
When you break it down like so many things, it's sort of simplistic, a basic structure, isn't it? Made out of fence posts, like
Basic
you say.
framework, our
Yeah.
fence posts.
These are presumably panels.
They
that
came
have
as
gone
panels.
Yeah,
We bought those. We didn't make those.
No, they're
They
just
came-
a complete. They are
yeah.
real bamboo,
Yeah.
but they're split as well, so you get a half and a half and a half, all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the light box itself is simple. It's just basic timber work, just to make in a box, make it waterproof.
It's fantastic and
Yeah.
a great idea for people, on a budget who are willing to dip into Facebook Marketplace and eBay and see what
Yeah.
they can put
Oh, yeah.
together with some
Yeah.
creativity and hard work.
100%.
Can't beat marketplace.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But on a sort of less than budget note, let's come and look at some of these amazing specimens, which I walked straight past earlier after admiring them when we first arrived. This is a beautiful tree fern, isn't it? What's your name for this tree fern?
This one's Anton Dick.
Anton Dick.
Yeah, Dicksonia, Antarctica, Anton Dick.
Yeah.
You get it. Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's a bit corny.
There we go.
Yeah,
Which one's Ant?
that'll be the big bald one. This one.
The one with the big forehead,
The
isn't
one
it?
with the big head.
Yeah, sorry, Ant.
Sorry, Ant.
This is a splendid tree fern, and I think you're saying this is growing in the polytunnel
Yeah,
when you bought it.
Yeah, the
It's suffering
fronds
a
were
little bit because of
massive.
the polytunnel. I think it's stretched to the light, hasn't it, inside the
Yeah, but when we
tunnel.
first got it out of the polytunnel, it was a beautiful specimen, and the fronds were like 3 meters long. They were huge.
3
Wow.
metres.
Yeah, 3 meters.
We're going 3 metres away.
We're going to-
We used to exaggerate in size on the show.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
it's 3 meters away.
It's definitely a man thing, isn't
Well, we
it?
used Steve for size, didn't we?
Yeah, but obviously it's had its new fronds on now, and the old ones are starting to die off.
Yeah.
it's a bit hard to spot the new ones actually amongst the old ones. But we will leave the old ones on to try and open the crown up a bit as time goes on. The other thing with tree ferns as well, which I learnt from a chap on YouTube channel, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, apparently so.
Is that tree ferns need a lot of water.
They do indeed.
They need 2 waterings a day, not a soaking, swimming kind of way.
It's that constant humidity, isn't it?
Yeah,
And the sort of
where they come
rainfall,
from, it's in a
essentially.
rainforest. They're wet all the time. But the most important thing is to feed them in the crowns, because in the wild where they come from, in the top there's decaying matter, leaves, insects, dead insects, that kind of stuff, and that all rots away in the top, and the plant gets its nutrient from them.
So in an environment like this, where although you do have some leaves, you don't have that continual sort of turnover.
No.
This isn't a temperate rainforest.
And you tend to keep them pretty tight in a garden as well, don't you, really?
That is the other element, isn't it? It's all right saying in theory leave all the old fronds on, but in reality, you're walking past here, you don't want it to look like a complete mess, do you? So
Exactly.
it is a balance, but how do you feed it then in your garden? Because this is something that's new to me.
Yeah, we use a double strength tomato feed, which is basically seaweed, molasses, that kind of stuff. Mix it up at double strength and then feed it directly into the crown.
So you just literally put it into a watering can or whatever?
Watering can, obviously diluted, into the top of each crown. Give them a nice good drink of that. I do that once a week.
There we go, that's my next question. And when do you do it? What sort of, is it from early spring, I guess?
Yes, from when the new croziers start coming out.
It's sort of May time-ish.
Yeah. And we'll do that probably till October-ish.
And since you found that information out,
Yeah.
we've got one that was struggling, a small double-headed one.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
really
it was
struggling.
struggling.
Yeah.
And when I got this information from this guy on YouTube, started feeding it and watering it, and it's made a good comeback, a big comeback.
I was actually pleased to see that, because I've got a couple in my garden that seem in a sort of, well, one in particular that's a constant decline. Obviously I've been to Jenny Rogers, the Secret Garden of Louth. They've got one they're removing. So to actually have one that's got a bit of a success story, you know, is pretty impressive. So I think what I'm going to do with mine that's struggling a bit is do the same as you, liquid seaweed or tomato feed, and give it another chance next year rather than taking it out.
But when you think about what you're doing, it's just mimicking what it gets in its natural environment, isn't it?
As close as possible,
It needs food, same as your flowers do. You feed your flowers, why don't you feed your tree fern?
No, completely.
exactly.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And then we just water it,
Yeah, just keep the trunk wet all the
not
way
just
down.
at the bottom.
Because
all the way.
Because these are, as you know, they're the roots.
Very sort of spongy roots, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of tree ferns, that's not the only one you've got, is it?
No,
because
this one's my
here,
favourite.
Look at this. Does it have a name, this one?
This is called tree beard.
Tree beard.
Yeah.
Look at that. How many heads has this one got?
This has got 7.
7 heads.
Yes, it's got 2 medium-sized ones on this side.
Wow.
3 bigger ones.
Oh, sorry, 3. Yeah, it's got 3. And then there's a big one on the top. This one. And
There's
then
one round the back as
and
well.
There's one right round the back, and then there are 2 smaller ones there.
That is a mighty tree fern, isn't it?
One plant. That's getting bang for your buck, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. I imagine a lot of books.
Especially when they're a lot of books.
I mean, that is a monstrous thing, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it? That was a challenge getting that in there, to be honest.
How deep did you actually dig it quite far into the ground, that one? Or?
No,
It's
sitting on the
it's
top.
just sat on the top.
You've
there.
kept every bit you could.
Yeah.
It's got a big surface area as well, but right at the back, obviously, where you can't see, there's a metal galvanised stake driven into the floor.
Got it to
quite a bit.
secure it.
Yeah, just to keep it from blowing over.
Yeah, keep it like that for a couple of years till
Yeah.
it's
Till it gets
properly
old
rooted.
and Get some roots down.
That really is lovely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
I can't obviously not talk about the Gunnera behind me.
Yeah, it's my favourite.
It's amazing, isn't it?
They're real beasts, aren't they? Because this one's next to our path, and we open for the NGS and ourselves, we've got to walk round the path. And you know what Gunnera leaves are like. They just want to come down, don't they?
In my garden, they seem to have a mission to take up the path.
Yeah. So I mean, luckily at the moment they're pretty upright. I mean, this one's standing on its own.
I am jealous of the way you've got them to go straight up to the sun.
Yeah. That's partly to do with the shade as well.
Yeah, but we have found a way of keeping them off the path. So we've got these metal bars with a hook on it, and it's round metal as well, so it doesn't damage the plant.
That is very much something I'll be taking inspiration from for my garden.
It keeps them up out of your way. So
Yeah.
you know.
That's very clever because you feel bad about chopping any leaves
Oh,
off these
yeah.
Oh
amazing
yeah, well
plants,
we've
don't
had
you?
to do one.
We've
which
done
came,
one.
it
Yeah,
came
one were coming right down. Yeah.
and it's hard to garden like this on your side. You know, you have to go around with the bucket and then you get scratches all down the side of your face
Yeah,
from
they're
the,
a bit
from the
bristly,
stems.
aren't
They
they?
are,
Yeah.
yeah.
But they work. It's simple and cheap enough. I mean, they're only a couple of quid a piece.
They weren't very expensive,
and it's and they look quite nice when they're up in there.
I think it looks stunning here, and we were talking about not to stir up that kind of worms again, but this plant here, I was saying I believe it's a cryptica.
Yeah,
we
because-
believe that too.
Yeah, the leaves, they're somewhere between a tinctoria and a manicata in size. You've got the white veins, if I can show people up there, of a manicata, or what we knew as manicata.
Yeah.
But the flowers, to me, are almost like a cross or hybrid, literally between the tinks and the manis.
Yeah.
So
they're just not as big, are they?
no, they've got a little more open structure than a pure tinctoria, but they're still quite tall, aren't they? So in fact, there's one here that you're tapping me on the arm because I've just missed it. I'm trying to zoom over there. I told you this video we won't be professional, didn't I? But yeah, you can see it really is a sort of blend or literally a hybrid of the two species, isn't it, essentially?
Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting, but let me know your thoughts if you're watching this. I personally think this is a good example of a hybrid that falls somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So
We'll agree with that.
we'll agree with it, but I'm
agree with
welcome to advise some real experts and people who know more. But this is it's just stunning, isn't it? It's like a proper journey. It's hard to believe your garden is literally 11 or 10 metres by 15 metres. When this area here feels completely different to where we started, doesn't it?
Yep.
So I know you've said ferns are one of your favourite plants, but looking across, I guess there's a real mixture, isn't there, of, we'll say, normal garden plants. You've got some sunny plants mixed in, haven't
We
you?
have to make the most of our 3 sunny spots. We've got one just over there where you've just had a look at the lady water feature.
We'll come back to tropical plants in there, definitely.
And this corner here,
This gets a little bit of sun on there.
yeah.
So, this
So
is
we
a
can
nice
do,
sunny spot.
but because this is where we keep our header tank for the waterfall.
Right, yeah, it has to be
it's
raised
not
up.
got much soil in there, so it's mainly grit
Right,
and poor
There's
soil.
only about 4 inches of soil.
Yeah,
So
so
it
we keep
gives you
our
better drainage.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I know people will be wondering, with your garden being north facing, and I know here you mentioned your water table's quite high, did you do anything to improve the soil before you started planting?
When it was a lawn, when the whole garden was a lawn, if it rained for 2 days straight, we'd get about 1 inch of water sat right across the top of the grass. It was like a miniature
You
swimming
couldn't
pool.
go out,
It's
really.
Yeah.
no.
terrible. We only have about 4 to 6 inches of topsoil, and then it turns to clay. So
Tricky working conditions.
Yeah.
And there was something somebody said in the past who it was the old guy who was living next door, wasn't
That's
it?
right, yeah.
He was the first person in,
Right.
and he was telling us about a spring had to be redirected.
Oh.
And so I don't know where it went, what it did, but anyway, we have a terribly high water table. So what we did to try and get around that, we had double gravel boards all the way around the edge of the garden, and then over the years we've probably had at least 20 tonne of soil.
Easily, yeah.
Oh, I can imagine you soon swallow the tonnage, don't you?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they don't go very far.
So-
Plus hundreds of bags of compost
Grit.
and manure and grit,
Sand, yeah.
just tons of stuff.
Yeah.
And
But
as we've gone around the garden,
it
we've
does
lifted
break it down,
the
doesn't
level
it?
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the levels come up
Yeah.
about 18 inches higher than all the neighbours all around.
Oh, right. So your neighbours have got paddling pools in their
Yeah,
gardens?
they still got paddling
They
pools.
still
Yeah.
struggle with that.
Yeah.
Especially Anthony
Yeah.
next door. He's only just been able to go out and mow
Yeah.
his lawn.
Yeah,
This
he's,
Oh, wow.
last
he's
couple
been
of
talking
weeks.
about putting a French drain in. Is that
Yeah.
bad?
Yeah.
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 But we're okay now. I mean, the water table's still there. It doesn't move. It's just that our plants are now sat 18 inches above that.
Yeah.
Got
But
you.
the gravel path helps. We've got a big gravel path that you came up earlier, and that helps as a drain as well. It doesn't flood now, does it, down the bottom?
No.
Used to,
No,
but it
used
doesn't
to,
now.
doesn't now.
But
Yeah.
that does help, definitely.
So although your garden's very much developed over the years, sort of project to project, a new water feature every year or so, you definitely approached it with we need to improve this on a big level before we start planting.
Yeah.
Got you. I know obviously, I appreciate I'm in a lucky position where with our garden, the soil was pretty good moving in, but a lot of people watching this come from new build plots and things where you have to, there's no way around it, so
quite
you've got to
poor,
put the
isn't
effort
No,
in.
well, this
Yeah.
house is a 60s house, and when we were digging the big pond, which was a metre down or
Yeah.
more, wasn't it? we were coming across glacial clay, grey clay with great boulders, plus house bricks.
In fact, the budget was that tight then. Annmarie was taking all the pebbles out of the clay and washing them so we could put them back in the stream.
Wow.
Yeah, so every pebble in the stream is
come out
come out of the hole and hand washed. So
No, definitely a labour of love then.
it was a labour of love, definitely.
I mean, looking around here, beautiful sort of monolith.
This is the
boulder
one that started off Andrew's excitement for water.
Yes.
So we bought this as a pre-drilled piece of slate, and this is its fourth place.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Third or fourth?
Let's call it final. Final
It's
place.
final place. Yeah.
We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's about a quarter of a ton. It takes a bit of
Yes.
moving.
Oh yeah, it's a big old chunk of rock.
So it's not
then, isn't
moving
it?
anymore. That's it.
I love obviously a lot of people who watch my videos tend to come, they enjoy the jungle exotic plants, but here it definitely feels like a sort of forest jungle environment, but there's the opipogon there, isn't there? We've got hebes, there's a trillium over there, and we've got some grasses, euphorbia mixed in, along with the sort of more conventional jungle plants at the back there.
Yeah.
Schefflera, huge bamboos. It really is a kind of carpet of different plants and foliage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of a hybrid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of forest meets jungle in certain areas.
Definitely. I've got to say big thanks to Steve, who actually put us in touch, didn't he? He said this will be a lovely garden to visit.
Yes,
Something
Steve
a little
comes
bit
round
different.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, he's always.
Especially if there's anything heavy to lift.
Yeah, drag him in.
He's got big muscles.
Yeah. I mean, this is lovely here, and this looks like it's been here for just years, doesn't it? With all the beautiful mosses.
Just over a year.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
A year and 2 weeks.
Used to be a summer house here that was past its sell-by date, so we thought, well, that's another 4 metre square of garden we've got there.
Oh,
yes.
The
Yeah.
space
It's a lot.
is at a premium.
You're into your gardening plants when you start to look and think every single square metre could be used for
Exactly.
another 50
Yeah,
plants or
exactly,
whatever.
Yeah.
I've got to say, myself, I don't have a huge amount of DIY knowledge, and everything I've done has very much been a journey of, like yourself, learning and things. But have you got any tips for creating something that looks as natural and established as this?
Biggest rocks that you can manage
Yeah.
to start with, and the biggest you can fit in.
And don't go cheap on the liner, because obviously underneath all these rocks, there's some big rocks there, and they're all sat inside a liner to keep the water inside.
Got you.
So if you have a really good quality liner, that is going to pay dividends down the road.
Yeah, it's not worth cutting corners on
No,
that, is
not
it?
really.
I've been there and done
No.
that.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
It's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah,
worth
we
it.
have. Yeah, right at the
You learn
beginning.
as you go along. You
you do.
budgets are tight. You buy a cheap liner.
But then as soon as it gets pierced and you have to rip the whole lot up,
Yeah.
it's suddenly...
you just wish you'd have spent that extra few quid on the decent one.
Yeah,
No, this is really lovely.
the
And the
birds
birds, yeah.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We have the trail cam on here, and we get all
Yeah,
the
we
birds.
put the trail cam down and they all come in here drinking and bathing. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Even just sort of, obviously today's a bit of a shorter day for me, but seeing the amount of birds and, flies and insects and everything here, it really is, it's a garden that's loved by nature, not just humans, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, we've planted
That's the
certain-
water. You
Yeah,
get the water.
and certain plants.
Some families have more
we've
of.
planted cotoneaster here,
Yes.
or cotoneaster, however anybody pronounce it.
Leave it open to
But
interpretation.
we've planted that purely because that is the plant that the bees go to. They just absolutely love it.
Trees are one of my sort of first interests when I was younger. I mean, that beautiful eucalyptus up there.
It's just finished flowering as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's flowering actually for the first time this
Is it?
spring, but
Yeah, they're really stunning flowers, aren't they? Like a white golf ball.
yeah. They're really sort of unusual looking things, aren't they? Definitely. I mean that against the blue sky, probably because we've been starved of blue skies, haven't we, this year so far, but it just looks incredible, so exotic, doesn't it?
And it's a really airy canopy as well. It doesn't block
No.
too much light out.
Very open.
That's
Yeah,
the most
very
important thing about what we wanted from our trees. We didn't want big, thick
Yeah, I
canopies.
didn't want a dense canopy. So each tree, apart from one, has been, which is the conker tree over there, that's a sentimental
Yeah,
thing.
but that's a sentimental tree.
So that one gets pruned quite heavily.
Yeah.
Oh,
but-
yes, but
Oh, the pigeons have done a bit of pruning by the look of it.
Yeah, I can see that branch up there.
There's two
They're
nests.
nesting in
There's
there.
two
Oh,
nests
right,
in
okay.
there.
Yeah.
There's two nests in the conifer. There's one in the wisteria and one in the yew. So we get a lot of wood
Oh, wow.
pigeons.
A lot of
Not a
bird
lot of
life.
people like the wood pigeons, but we don't mind them, do we? Andrew might have a different view of that.
Yeah, we won't comment on wood pigeons too much.
No.
This oak here is
Yeah.
phenomenal,
This
isn't
is
it?
my
Yeah, it's
ultimate favourite tree.
Which sort is this?
This is dentata.
Quercus
Quercus dentata, Carl Ferris Miller.
It really is
Yeah.
a stunning tree, this, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's stunning now, but autumn, I know we don't want the autumn to come, but when the autumn comes, the colours on this, it keeps some of its green and it goes red and orange and brown, and it's just
and they're really thick leaves as well.
They are. They're not finished growing yet.
No.
They'll probably get
They will get longer than these, won't
they
they?
will get a little bit bigger.
It almost
than
feels like material, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely very sort of thick and sort of woolly almost underneath, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we get sycamore moth on here, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which are
it's a
beautiful.
stunning caterpillar.
Yeah, they're yellow, bright
Yellow and blue and red.
So I guess that is a big feature of your garden, isn't it? It's not just naturalistic in terms of the overall look, it's that you welcome wildlife, don't you?
We built it with wildlife in mind.
No, that's
We had
fantastic.
to, because we knew having the trees, I mean, lots of caterpillars and insects love the trees, but certain plants we needed to put in so that we got certain animals in and wildlife in, you know.
So a bit of a controversial question, some people, slug control. What do you do here?
We rely on our frogs.
Excellent,
The thing
same
is,
with myself.
with having the water in and lots of it, we get loads of frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The top pond is the what we call the wildlife pond.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that shortly
It's,
again.
it's quite shallow. Every spring it gets full of frog spawn. Last year we had a depletion of tadpoles because we found out that the fish that was in there were actually eating them.
Oh.
which is all right for the fish, but not good for the frogs. We just evicted the fish out into the bottom pond. That solved the issue. So this year we've got thousands of tadpoles.
Wow.
Which means we're going to have quite a few frogs.
So slugs
We've already seen them, haven't we?
Yeah, natural slug.
We've got
you do get slug damage on plants. I mean, you're going to get it, aren't you? And especially this year with it being so wet and
been so wet. Slugs have been a big problem, haven't they, for lots of people.
It is something. It's upsetting when you see hostas and they have got lots of holes in, but it's part of the natural cycle.
It's very much bigger picture, isn't it? That's the way I sort of look at it.
Yeah.
So just looking around this corner a bit more, obviously fans of the jungle plants, we've got Techpanax there, haven't we? A beautiful Fatsia japonica there. They're just, I think really these big leaves are sort of so great when they're contrasted with the different pines and things you got here. Really gives it that exotic feel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this must be a beautiful spot to sit on those warm evenings.
Yes, it is.
Yes, one of the few sunny spots where you actually get sun on here.
No, it really is lovely.
Yeah.
Heading back up towards your waterfall area then, I think one thing that struck me about this is it's the blend of materials, everything works really well together, but you said there's a very practical element to the different levels here and why you set it out, how you set it out.
Well, if you're going to build a waterfall, what you don't want is it looking like a volcano.
Yes.
Because I think the basic mistake people make when they're first starting out doing this is they get the rocks and the lime and everything and they build
up to the top.
Yeah, they build up to the top, but they get steep sides on it, so you get a waterfall that looks a bit like a volcano.
I understand that, yes.
Yeah. Whereas really, you want to try and get it as flat as possible, but you need the height because obviously a waterfall needs to fall.
Yeah, logically. Yeah. This one here, that's the top of it there. I'll just back off if I can without falling into anything. We don't want that in this video. So you've got a high point over there in the distance, and then it comes down to the reservoir, which you're saying is under here.
Yeah, the reservoir underneath the timber there is a metre cubed soakaway block, which you can get from any builder's merchants.
Yeah, they're often known as soakaway crates, aren't they?
Yeah, soakaway crates.
Yeah, buy however many you need to make the sort of reservoir
and
you need.
They are designed to take a lot of weight on top, bricks and that kind of stuff. But I have put on top of that a metal grid, which is cemented in around the edges, because it's got a lot of rock on there. Yeah, there's a lot of weight of rock on there. So I just wanted to give it some proper support. But that there's a metre cube under there. Which is the sump for the water.
Reservoir, that isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So the pump in the bottom of that sump pumps to the top of the waterfall, and then naturally overflows and comes down the stream and back into the tank.
And like you're saying, to get around the fact that your waterfall has to start high, you've made it look more natural by raising up the area around it.
Yes.
Including where
this area where we sat.
So if I back off, you can see up there, it's a sort of step up to this area here.
Yeah, so you've automatically gained height there without doing too much. It still looks level, but in actual fact you have come higher already.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then it's gradually sloped up to the top of the waterfall and then tapers off at the back as well. So you don't get the volcano effect, but you do get the height you need. And the other thing as well is where you bring the water, where you introduce the water into the top level of the waterfall. You don't want it coming out a pipe and coming out like an hose pipe jetting into it.
You have to
want
slow
it to
it
be
down.
as natural as possible. So that top section, if I was to take all the rocks out of the hole, in the bottom of there's what's called a diffuser, which is basically a plastic rectangular shaped box, and the water comes into the back of it. Well, then it hits a plastic wall to take the energy out of the water and sends it left and right. It sprays it out. It takes all the energy away.
And that's what creates that very sort
and
of
that
natural...
creates the smoothness at the top. Instead of jetting out, it just naturally overflows like a spring, if you like.
So I guess like with anything, proper preparation, and to get something natural looking, you need to put more work in at the start, don't you?
And
Really
you can
plan
do
it
that
out.
with perspex boxes and things, can't you? Lots of people make homemade boxes, don't they? Like the IKEA boxes, and they cut a hole and put like rocks and things inside to make a homemade one.
Yes, yeah,
definitely. Yeah. No, it's interesting to know. You obviously can attempt. Anyone can attempt something like this, but it's going on YouTube, isn't it? It's finding people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's the little tips and tricks that really help it nestle and look part of the garden.
That's right. And hiding the liner as well is that's the most difficult thing.
That's the most difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Because obviously all the rocks that you can see there are all actually inside the liner. Because otherwise
so the liner goes further back.
Yeah, the liner goes right underneath the rocks and it comes right up this side. So all the water's in the middle, but the water can't get out because the liner comes way up this side. If you use a porous rock as well, like sandstone, sandstone holds a lot of water content, and that gives moss and other plant life a good foothold to grow on.
As we can see down there.
I mean, this has only been in a year.
Yeah, and it looks like it's been in forever, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Now, looking down that way, that does look like an intriguing path through the garden.
Yeah, that goes straight down to the koi pond.
Everything just feels so lush and sort of welcoming, doesn't it? It wraps around you. One of the things that really strikes me about your garden is the amount of character running through it. So how did you add this sort of personality to your garden?
Well, first of all, I'm not keen on throwing a lot of stuff away. And if it's got a purpose and it can be used again, then I will do that. So that mirror there, for instance, that was in our neighbour's skip and she was throwing it away. And it was like a tiki colour. And I said, do you need it? She says, well, no, I'm just chucking it away if you don't want it. I said, well, I can use it if you want. So I just thought, well, I'll do what I did with the gazebo and try some more self-adhesive leaded light.
Oh, so you did all the lead work on this one as well?
Yeah, I just painted it a different colour. So it's been in several places. That it was on the side of our summer house to start with.
Just catches the light a bit, doesn't it?
And like everybody says, it just makes the garden project a little bit further, you know. So
certainly, I can see you've obviously got the poppy theme running through the garden as well.
Yeah. Well, we like poppies, but they're hard to grow. Our red sort of poppies, you know, the oriental sort in our garden. Yeah. Because it's not enough sun.
No.
So it's just a little pop of colour, especially in the winter time when we've got nothing else going.
I like it. It really sort of brings the ferns to life, doesn't it? That little spot of red there.
That's right. And then another piece of artwork we've got. This used to be the globe from our summer house. It had a light in it, and again we took that down and we thought, well, it's such a lovely piece of thing without the artwork on it. What could we use it for? So we needed some more light in this area of the garden. So Andrew fitted a post light, and then I turned the globe up the other way and thought, oh, what can I do? And I thought, I'll try some more leaded light on that. So we've got a green light in there, and that shows through with the leaf pattern and the swirls on it. So it's just very simple.
I
doesn't cost very much money to do.
No. Just again that creativity, isn't it? It's that little spark of imagination, and
it's something nobody else has got.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I love the sort of leaves on it that you've done as well. It continues that theme all the way through the garden, doesn't it?
That's the same with the mirror and the gazebo. We've done quite a few leaf things. And the other piece we've got is on the bridge crossing the stream, which I've done the same sort of thing, but not using leaves.
Yeah. And then did you make all these yourself? Or these?
No, we bought these macrame ones.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I'm mission at last, there's something you had to buy into the garden.
we had to buy.
And I've got to say, the statues, which again we've walked past all the way through.
These are one of the first things we bought when we originally wanted to do a Japanese theme. But we bought two of these, and they were really cheap to start with. You can get these same things now, and they're like £200 more than what they were when we bought them. So we went up in the car and just bought them back. You know, they're really heavy. But they've started to age now, which is
That's
nice.
what really makes them look beautiful, doesn't it? It's the moss and the lichens spreading over them. It looks fantastic. And the other one's just dotted in here, isn't he?
Yes.
Hiding under the mahonia, enjoying a bit of dappled shade.
Yeah, and our garden visitors use these as places to put their hands on to get down the steps.
Oh yeah,
which is really so. And to be fair, we do too now.
Well, we're getting on a bit now, you know.
I don't know. No, it really is a fantastic garden full of so much creativity. I mean, what's some of your favourite plants that you've used in this shady area? Because I know lots of people want shade plants.
This is probably the shadiest part of the garden, definitely.
Yeah, this is one of my favourite ferns.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at the form. It's stunning.
That really is unusual. I've not seen one like that before.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? This is Dre's dagger. This one.
Dre's dagger.
Yeah, it's a form of Victoria, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Felix femina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just stunning.
Yeah.
That really is special.
I mean, just how can nature build something like that? Just look at it. It's beautiful.
You don't see them where they crisscross like that, do you?
No,
that really is something special there.
The Victoria one is very similar to that, but it doesn't crisscross. It's a very, very similar fern, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it just doesn't have that. But we like all these. All the Ethereums are probably our favourite because there's lots of different sorts. Yeah,
they're quite delicate, aren't they?
They are very delicate, but they give that little splash of colour as well, especially the painted ones. That's just a metallicum, that one is.
Yeah, I love it.
Just a metallicum. It's stunning.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's stunning.
But we've got the crested version.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's different levels of stunning, isn't there? Yeah. You can't have over 200 of one sort of plant without
You
being
can
like
see
that,
this
can you?
is the sort of slug damage we get. And we do open for the NGS, as we said, but if we get a leaf that's like completely depleted, we'll just chop it off.
I'm pleased you like that. I mean, that's sort of my view is,
Yeah.
I get a lot of people commenting, asking about how do you do this and how do you do that. And my honest answer is, I sort of encourage as much wildlife as I can and then just put up with any damage. And it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah,
if it's a bad leaf, you remove it. If there's one plant they like, grow some other plants that cover it and just leave it to attract them like a magnet.
Yeah.
And overall, the big picture, I would much rather have a garden full of wildlife and all the beautiful sounds and
100%.
Things change through the seasons than a garden which is sterile and perfect leaves.
It's like the ordinary mahonia there, just the japonica.
Yeah.
You know, you see that like in supermarket car parks, but we've planted it because of the berries. And we've had blackbird after blackbird come in here. We've got a family of them.
They just come and strip it.
They just come and strip it.
Wow, yeah.
And
you can see there's none
there's got
left
a few
there.
left.
There's a few left.
There's a few
of the ends
And
there.
they're quite tough to pull off as well. It's quite funny watching them.
I've got to say, on my sort of plant journey, plants like mahonia, like you described as a supermarket car park plant,
Yeah.
they never really did a lot for me until I saw them in gardens where they use as an evergreen and presented with big trees and other exotic leaves. They take on that other sort of nature, don't they?
Yeah.
And really
they can take pruning, hard pruning too.
Actually, you can literally, if you had one stem coming out here, you can chop it right back in.
Yeah, you can.
There's another version of it there as well, isn't there? Yes. Is that soft caress?
That's soft caress, yes.
I'm not sure if that's winter sun.
That's slightly different, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's winter sun. We've got soft caress up on the corner.
At the top,
yeah. This has been beautiful.
The people who watch my channel will know I've got a lot of soft caress in my garden.
Yeah.
And Simon Maybury's garden, the jungle garden we spoke about, you've seen that video, haven't you?
Yeah.
He's got, let's just say Sweet Winter is the plant of that video. I had so many people asking me about that.
Yeah.
But this Winter Sun, it's definitely got the similar kind of look, hasn't it?
Yes,
Again, no spikes to it. Beautiful foliage plant.
Yeah.
And
it's just slightly thinner than the other one.
It's slightly more divided, isn't it?
Yes, only slightly.
I guess, would you say you enjoy growing flowers, or are you very much a foliage sort of?
We like growing flowers, but you can't really get much to flower in this garden, can you? I mean, we rely on things like lilies that will cope with a good amount of...
I mean, most gardens, these are probably open already now.
Yeah, as a like...
But I mean, you can see it's in the sun's eye and it's in shade.
Yeah.
But it won't be long, it's on its way.
Yeah, they do open.
They just take longer. It's same with the wisteria on the house. Travel about a lot for work, and you see a lot of wisteria on people's houses, and they're all in full flower. I come back home and ours not even started.
Yeah,
so yours on the house there.
Yeah, that's on the side of the house.
Yeah, but they do last longer because we're in shade, so the flowers
well, there
last.
is that element to it,
Yeah, you know.
And they do come out, they just take a bit
but
longer.
we rely on other things like coleus. We do like a bit of coleus.
Splash of colour here and there,
And they're cheap enough nowadays. You can get them like in 6-packs for different sorts, and we,
I know the sort of practical advice that I should give people is you can grow a lot of these from seed and cuttings.
Yes,
but
you can. Yeah.
In reality,
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
a lot to be said for if you just got a few gaps in your garden, go out to your local garden centre nursery, get a few
Yeah.
coleus,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
for sake of
But we
say
do-
£20, you can
Yeah,
suddenly
we
jazz up an
propagate
area.
them as well.
Oh, you do propagate
Yeah, we
them?
do propagate them. Yeah.
There
yeah.
we go. You can do it both ways, can't
Yeah,
you?
we do. Yeah.
Lovely little gap
Probably
fillers.
noticed in the little water feature at the top, there's all
I know it's some near the edge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ends
yeah.
of these,
Oh, I saw those.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they'll go into pots shortly.
Yeah.
That new growth on that conifer really is lovely
Yeah.
as well, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's such a
Beautiful.
contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between the old growth and the new.
Yeah, it is.
That's a
Beautiful.
lovely tree.
And as you look up
Yeah.
and look into
It's
the
more
sky,
one-sided on that side. That's where it gets a little bit more sun. But
Yeah.
the cones that we get on it now, it's established.
Yeah, there's some stunning
They're
cones.
gorgeous. In fact, you can
That's
see a few
beautiful.
from last
Yes,
year.
I can,
just
I
on
can
the
see a
edge.
few just hanging down. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very sort of like elongated, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
No, it's a lovely tree.
It's a bit dodgy when they fall on the floor though, because you don't know if a fox has been and left a present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This then must be the famous fish pond you've been speaking about.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is beautiful.
Yeah, them boys have been in there since day one. The big ones.
The
huh?
big ones.
Yeah.
The little ones are from the top pond that we're eating, the tadpoles
Yeah.
that we were talking about earlier on. And when the tadpoles come out of the eggs, all the big
Some of them
koi
get washed
line
downstream,
up down
don't they?
here.
Yeah.
There's a constant stream of tadpoles, and these big ones, they just make a line
Yeah.
on the edge of the
Really funny.
stream, waiting
Oh, wow.
for them to come
No
down.
wonder they're so big then with all
Yeah.
that. I just love how everything just looks so natural and like it's supposed to be here, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
I guess the mind your own business is a big part of that. Really softens the
Well,
edges,
we
doesn't
like
it?
that, and you can
I do,
control
yeah.
it. A lot of people, the mind your own business police come out, and we think, well, you can control it quite easy. You just pull a bit up and throw it away if you don't want it, or give it to a friend.
It's like so many of these exotic plants and plants which spread. In reality, you can pull them back quite easy. You can pull them back so much quicker than they
Yeah.
grow, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate if you've got a pristine lawn, you
Yeah.
wouldn't obviously want to introduce
Oh,
that
no.
next to it. But
Well, we prefer that to a
Everything
lawn,
in its
wouldn't
place,
we?
isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll just
Don't
start
you
that a
puff
little
and
bit.
puff at me. He's doing his billy goat.
Okay, so
Standing
we've just
on
had
the
an argument. We just filmed this bit. That fern over there is a beautiful fern. I said it
Yeah.
looks like an osmunda. It's not from the same family, is it? But what's that known as? That fern there?
It's an oncolia. It's oncolia. It's sensitive fern.
Sensitive fern. No, it's lovely. It's very sort of. I don't know how you describe it really. The fronds
Well, it
almost
looks
look
like
leaves,
osmunda.
don't
That's
they?
why we say
Yeah. No, the leaves they're very sort of coarse, aren't they?
they're
And-
oak-like, aren't they?
Yeah, no, it looks lovely. And
Yeah.
as I was just mentioning, in front of that big tree fern, I think plants like ferns really tie the whole thing together.
do,
Rather
yeah.
than just having a specimen plant just dumped in there,
Yeah.
everything just looks so natural, which, for a garden where you've got sun-loving sedums over there, you've got ferns down here, you've got conifers over there, you've got ensete bananas, you've got strelitzia houseplants over there. There's so many different plants, but somehow, through your magic and creativity, it all ties together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks lovely. Obviously, the sun helps as well, doesn't it?
The sun's
Everything looks
helping
good
a
in the
lot
sun.
today.
It is.
No, it really is
It's long
fantastic.
overdue as well.
Yeah, it is long overdue.
Yeah.
So when it comes to trees in your garden then, is there a particular favourite or obviously you like the oak?
Well,
but
mine's the Carfellis mirror. What's your favourite? Here we go.
Oh, I've got a lot. The cedar there in front
The
of you
cedar.
there. I love that cedar. Yeah, that was about 4 foot, 5 foot when we put it in,
wow.
Yeah,
and I just love the shape of it. It splits into two.
yeah.
It's
stunning.
definitely got a character to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it,
yeah,
and it leans
yeah.
over just the right way for you, doesn't it?
does,
Just
it's-
over that, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
Over your
does the
structure over
thing.
there.
It's beautiful.
We're getting
Yeah,
to the
definitely.
point now with some of our trees are quite mature now, so it's management now of our trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't just let them go.
The
Oh,
good
no,
thing
no.
as well is as the trees are growing up, you can clear the bottom for more underplanting.
Definitely.
So that's how the garden will probably evolve now over this, because all the hard landscaping's done. That's all finished. So the thing that's going to change yearly will be the plants that we put in at lower levels, and as the trees go up, there'll be different plants and shrubs go in.
So it's definitely an evolving garden, is it? As they
Oh,
all are,
they're
obviously.
all-
But
It
yeah,
has to
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
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 And so
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say then you've very much grown the trees that you wanted to grow in your garden without necessarily saying I want something that's going to be 30 metres tall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
chosen the foliage types that you like. You planted them where you want that tree,
Yeah.
and you're willing to control them and
Yeah.
essentially make them.
Well, we
make
knew
them suit
that
your
when we
dream.
put them in that we'd have to control them.
Yeah.
Because you do your research before you put them in.
Beautiful.
We've got a copper beech.
I saw that just as we came
And
in. Yeah.
that's in a pot.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's on the ground and you can't see the pot, so it looks like it's coming out of the ground.
It's very
and
clever.
that's a long time ago we bought that, and it does restrict its growth. But you've got to feed them. You've got to make sure you feed them.
Oh, of course you do, yeah.
You know, if you don't feed them in pots, then they're not going to perform for you.
So to me, a couple of the big take-homes, obviously you've battled the challenges of it being a north-facing garden, having really waterlogged soil, the perpetual slug issue. But to me, it's not just those challenges, it's the opportunities that you've really taken advantage of. And so many people see trees as literally just something for big gardens, something that you let grow to its mature size. Whereas I think your garden's really special in that you've chosen the trees that have got the very unique attributes, the unusual foliage, fantastic new growth. Sycamore over there, it's got the beautiful helicopters on it now, hasn't it, and the flowers. And you're not afraid to really overplant the trees and enjoy them as smaller plants, are you?
You can't have too many trees. You can't have too many trees.
You can't have too many trees.
And if you want a fast-growing tree as well in your garden, put Paulownia in.
Paulownia, yeah.
Paulownia, I mean, they're a stunning tree.
Definitely.
And they're really fast-growing. We've got two. We've got one in the new area up the top. Because when the summer house came out, there was a big gap in the sky, and like the only one around the garden. So we had to put something in that's going to grow pretty quick. We didn't want bamboo up there, not for any obvious reason. But
we've
already got it in.
We have got bamboo already.
Something different. Yeah. So we put the Paulownia in, and that's growing really well, fast.
Yeah. And we can keep on top of that because we know.
We've also got a Paulownia over there that we're trying something different with. We've pollarded it down to probably 6 inches, 7 inches.
Yeah.
And that's now sending the shoot out the side.
We'll go through and have a look at that.
Because we're in a north-facing garden, though, it doesn't do it as quickly as some people. No. You see them now, and they're like already 4 or 5 feet.
Well, to me, that's one of the inspirational things about your garden is that it is north-facing, everything's delayed.
Yeah.
You've got so many sort of just completely tough and hardy plants, but it still feels special and exotic, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it still performs right through to November.
Oh, I can imagine. And then you've got the conifers taking over and really bring that winter interest.
Exactly, yeah.
So looking into this area here, obviously another water feature.
You might need a pointy stick.
I'm getting a pointy stick.
Oh, look at this.
We use a lot of pointy sticks.
Yeah.
So is
this for controlling your NGS business?
no around there. That's the Paulownia that's been.
Yeah, we can see that there.
Yeah, and you can see the
without
new,
me being gently prodded.
There you go. You can see the new side coming out.
Well, we thought it was dead, and we wish we hadn't have done it. And then all of a sudden, a bud came out, and it stayed like that for about 3 weeks, didn't it?
Yeah.
And we thought, oh gosh, have we done the right thing? And then we went and had a little bit of information off other people that had done it.
There's a couple of videos on YouTube about them.
Yeah.
One of them was really interesting. They grow a field full of them.
Ah, right, okay.
They use the wood off them.
So it's very, very fast growing, isn't it? So you can get a lot of timber quickly.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be one of the best trees for carbon capture.
They are.
Simply because they grow so fast.
Yeah. Oh, you're just pure biomass.
Yeah.
That's right.
I guess it's similar to bamboo, isn't it? It grows that fast, it just sucks that much in from the air, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They've definitely got the purpose as we go forward, haven't they? I love this area of planting. So the Paulownia is obviously a little bit delayed, as many exotic plants can be with a cool spring.
It'll catch up.
Oh, of course it will.
Yeah, it'll catch up.
I love the way you've sort of presented the Enseti, the red bananas, and the Strelitzia. The way you plant it as though it's like a big clump.
Yeah.
It does look very natural, and I do like that because it's very often with these kind of plants, you try to treat them as just like a specimen, don't you?
Plant, yeah.
Whereas to me, as I look through there, seeing them in a group, although it's going to look a bit crowded later in the season, I think that looked fantastic.
Last year we grew them, they were small, and we had 3 in one pot, and they didn't really perform very well. But we liked the grouping of it. It looked nice. So we thought, well, we'll put them together. And there's a sycamensis in there as well, and a Cavendish further over as well. But it just works for us, it's and because we're governed by space too, so we've got to give it a go.
Of course.
And like we said earlier, we'll grow them till they won't fit in the greenhouse anymore, and then we'll start again.
Yeah, they've had the time. I do like the way as well, because a lot of people watching videos might be really into the jungle planting, and that is their sole passion.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of people as well that just want a garden with a touch of the exotic, and I think the way that you've chosen an area here where you put the tender plants. That's the way to do it, isn't it?
We've had to pick it. Yeah, we've had to pick it because that's our sunspot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
in this part of the
practically,
garden.
it's easy to know then at the end of the season, isn't it? This
Yeah.
is the area that I'm digging up or mulching or whatever.
Exactly.
I know as well, like you say, you're taking full advantage of that beautiful
Yeah.
sun, and those leaves, I've got to say, out of pretty much any plant, those insecti just look stunning, don't they? When the sun
Beautiful,
hits the
aren't
back of
they?
them,
Yeah,
Yes.
nothing
really.
beats those leaves when they
Yeah.
get big, and you see those beautiful reds and oranges. They really are fantastic. No, I mean, to me, it's that little spot of the exotic there that suddenly transforms everything else, doesn't
Yeah.
it? So I guess really the question is, I know how I would sort of describe your garden, but what is it to you? Is it just simply a collection of the plants that you love and want to grow, or are you trying to create a certain theme as you go forward?
We just want it to be as calming a place as possible for us, don't we?
Yeah.
And to create that,
Well, it gives it, with the trees and everything, we've got the privacy.
yeah. Which we were craving privacy, weren't we?
Yeah.
In 2008, when we started it, it was
It was
really
so
overlooked.
open,
So we that was our main objective, to become as private as possible.
To create a real secluded atmosphere.
Yeah.
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 It's sort of the forest theme that really is top of my list, with all the
Yeah.
trees and the water.
Definitely, yeah.
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 It's that cooling surrounding of all the foliage.
No, definitely. You do feel, I mean, here, right where I am now, you can barely see any houses around you, can you?
That's right,
You've got
yeah.
sound coming from every angle.
Yeah.
You're looking up, you've got the beautiful Trachycarpus leaves there, all the amazing and exotic conifers up there, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but you literally could be anywhere, couldn't you? And
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
for people who've got an urban garden, which is around this size, so we'll say small to medium size, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's a combination of using the taller plants, not just in the centre, but also around the edges. You've not been afraid to have a path that sort of winds its way around, and also, to me, it really is about that journey, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It's creating
yeah.
different areas in your garden. If you
Yeah.
can see it from start to finish, there's no mystery, is there?
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Whereas
that's
this-
what we wanted.
Definitely.
But also to embrace what we're working with, which is north-facing clay, and the insects we wanted to keep, don't we? But we don't want the slugs. Nobody wants the slugs.
No.
So we've had to embrace that as well. And to do that was creating the ponds, and I think we've achieved that. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for this quick walk around, and I've got to say, it really is a very special garden, and one which I imagine is just going to continue evolving and evolving, isn't
Oh,
it?
I'm sure it
as the
will.
trees get
Yeah.
bigger. But
Yeah.
I really do, it's opened my eyes to the variety of planting you can have. And again, like with Simon Maybury's garden, like with a few of the other gardens I've visited, how much you can get in a small space, and that
Yeah.
real feeling of atmosphere you can get. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for your time today. I really have enjoyed it.
You're very welcome.
You're
Thank
welcome.
And on Facebook, can people reach you over there?
Yes.
50 Shades of Green.
Yeah,
Yes, I'll put a link to that in the description
Okay.
below. You open through the NGS over summer, don't you?
we do.
So definitely
Yeah.
check it out if you want a garden to visit in the Walsall, Birmingham area this summer. Thanks for watching. See you later. So we're going to feed the fish. Let's see them come to the surface.
They should be really hungry.
Wow, they
We
are.
starved them this morning.
And you're saying, Andrew, that you've got names for each of these fish?
Yeah, they're all named after the characters in Friends.
Yeah,
There's Chandler Bing coming up for a bit.
Chandler Bay. I don't know if I believe you or not, but we'll say that.
No, the
Yeah.
greeny yellow one, that's
Oh,
Joey.
That's Joey.
There we go.
He's very hungry.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a greedy
Phoebe
boy.
right at the front.
I'll believe you.
We're just like green.
Well, I agree.
We like green.